Hello everyone, today we'll be discussing Old English period. Please remember that this video is being created from the point of view of objective exams such as UGC NET and SET. So the Old English period is also known as the Anglo-Saxon period. It dates from the 5th century to 1150. So there is a slight misconception among students. They believe that the Old English period ends with the Norman conquest in 1066, but that is not the case. So Celts were the original inhabitants of the place. Then came the Romans. In the 4th century, Romans left Britain and the population was left open to invasions from the north. Then came the Germanic people, Angles, Saxons, and Jutes. You need to remember these three names of the tribes. They arrived in the 5th and the 6th century and brought with them their own language, culture, and traditions, which were pagan in nature. Now that is reflected in the works of this particular age. The ReChristianization began at the end of the 6th century. It is sometimes known as the Gregorian mission, as it was associated with Pope Gregory the Great of Rome. Now, this mission was led by Saint Augustine, the first Archbishop of Canterbury. Other missionaries that were associated are Willibrord and Boniface. The features of the works. So, the first and primary feature is the works were anonymous. The authorship of available works is not confirmed. The second is paganism. As I said, the Germanic people brought with them their own traditions and culture, which were pagan in nature. Now, androcentric. The literature of this time is mostly male-centered. There is a struggle between good and evil, and at the end, good prevails. The importance of community is focused upon. Bravery and heroism of the individual is stressed. Individuals' failed attempt at changing the weird. Weird is the Old English word for fate. Now, in the previous slide, I discussed the themes that were prevalent in the works of Old English literature. Now I'm going to talk about the style of writing. So, the Old English verse is alliterative in nature. If you look up Beowulf, in the very introduction, you'll see that the line is given that Beowulf consists of 3,182 alliterative lines. So it is a very important feature of this particular age. Then we have use of kennings. Now, kennings are compound expressions used to express deeper ideas. So, for instance, you just don't say human body, you say bone house. Or Wales Road is used for ocean. Battle sweat instead of blood. Sky candle instead of sun. Now that's an easy one. Then we have flat timber instead of ship. Now we have 4 important dialects that you need to remember. A question has been asked in UGC NET based on this. So the first one is Northumbrian. Then we have Mercian, Kentish, and West Saxon. Now, West Saxon dialect is associated with King Alfred, and this dialect had a strong political standing because King Alfred is the one who advocated the revival of English learning. Now, we have words from Old English. The word weird means fate. It is also pronounced as word sometimes. Then we have scop or bard, who is the professional poet. Then we have root, which means cross. We have 4 significant manuscripts. Now, of course, there must have been many more manuscripts, but the eventual natural decay and the invasions that led to the destruction of monasteries has left us with just 4 of these manuscripts, which are considered significant. So the first one is Junius. Now, I haven't included all the works because different books give different works. So I've collected the most important ones, which I believe. So the first one is Junius, which consists of Genesis, Exodus, Daniel, Christ, and Satan. So Christ and Satan is, it's one title and it comprises of 3 shorter poems. Next, we have Novel Codex. Now, Novel Codex is the manuscript that contains Judith and Beowulf. And since Beowulf is a very important work, the Novel Codex manuscript is sometimes alternatively known as the Beowulf manuscript. Next, we have Versailles. It has 2 signed poems by Cynewulf, Elaine and the Fates of the Apostles. Then we have Andreas and The Dream of the Rood. The next one we have is Exeter. It contains mostly elegies. I've mentioned just 4. If you look them up, you can find a few more titles. the Wanderer, the Seafarer, Widsith, and Deor. Now, we'll talk about King Alfred. I mentioned King Alfred when I talked of the West Saxon dialect. So he was the king of the West Saxons and the king of the Anglo-Saxons. He spent many years fighting the Viking invasions. He advocated English learning and usage over Latin. That is why he's so important. Now, Anglo-Saxon chronicles were composed under his reign. As I said, that the works of this period were primarily anonymous. So we are not sure whether it was King Alfred himself who composed these chronicles, or he just commissioned their composition under his reign. He made 5 very important translations. The first one is Pastoral Care by Pope Gregory. I mentioned him when I talked about the ReChristianization that began at the end of the 6th century. So he's the same Pope Gregory the Great. Then we have History of the World by Orosius. The next work is the Ecclesiastical History of the English People by Venerable Bede. It was completed in 731. Now, this is a very important work because all the details that we know of this particular period come from this very book. The next one we have is The Consolation of Philosophy by Boethius and Soliloquies of Saint Augustine. If you found this video informative, please like and share it and subscribe to my channel. And if you want me to make videos on certain topics, please put it in the comment section below. Thank you.